Oh, welcome back to another Models by me. This time we'll be looking at Focker-Wulf 190. I fancy something else other than Airfix. Hang on. Nah, I want a bigger aircraft. No, I said a bigger aircraft. No, I said a bigger aircraft. Perfection. Yep, sorry, I had to do that joke. Right, so yes, we'll be looking at the Focker-Wulf 190 by Revell in 30-second scale. So we'll be doing this in the usual manner of starting with the outside of the box, then the contents, then the instructions, then the sprues, and then my final thoughts at the end. So a little bit of history on the Focker-Wulf 190. I'll only do a little bit of history on this wing. Between 1934 and 1935, Germany was after a new fighter. Kurt Tank entered with the Focker-Wulf 159 to compete against the Avado 80, the Heinkel 112, and the Bf 109. No points for guessing which aircraft won that competition. Undeterred, Kurt Tank went back to the drawing board. With the 109 in development, all the DB601 engines were being accounted for. He wouldn't be able to use any of the inline engines. So, what about radial engines? Problem is, with the big, wide, open engine at the front, that would cause quite a bit of drag. Something Kurt noticed the US Navy was still developing successful fighters despite having radial engines themselves. So while studying the engine, it was discovered that the outside edge was actually the hottest spot, not in the centre. So the solution presented itself: design the propeller spinner to divert most of the air away from the front of the engine, thus making it a bit more aerodynamic and streamlined. This, combined with making the controls as light as possible and being armed with a mixture of weapons ranging from the 8mm MG17s to the 50mm machine guns, 20mm and even 30mm cannons, plus rockets, bombs and God knows what else on this thing, meant that we had an extremely manoeuvrable and deadly aircraft, earning the nickname of Butcher Bird. After the development throughout the 1940s, in June 1941 the Focker-Wulf 190 was unleashed against the RAF. This completely outclassed the Spitfire Mark V in all but the turning circle. The A variants of the A90 had a notable drop in performance above 20,000 feet. So with the D variant, the engine was replaced with a supercharged Junkers Umo 213 engine. This also gave the distinction of having a longer nose to accommodate the longer engine, as it was actually an inline engine, not the radials as before. However, the rest of the airplane was still the same as the A variants with the shorter wings, which unfortunately didn't provide much improvement, still above the 20,000 feet, though with the larger engine it could actually now get up there. Where the Allied bombers were operating at above about 25,000 feet, there was a need for a redesigned fuselage and wings. Enter the TA-152 in November 1944, which would be one of the fastest prop planes for its time. If you have made it this far, please consider hitting that like and subscribe buttons, as we look into Revell's take on the butcher bird in 1/32 scale. Thank you, title card. Sorry if the camera's going to seem a bit more wobbly, it's trying a new stand. So, let's have a look at the outside of the box. So, we got Revell, skill level 5. We'll compare that to our own skill levels. 32nd scale, 168 parts, and the size of this, which is just shorter than a 30cm ruler, and then in turn just wider than one. Tells you what is along the bottom, and quite a nice artwork of an A8 in the skies. It's got one in the background as well, taking on the Allied bombers. Let's have a look at the side here. So we have, same again, skill level 5, Revell, 190 A8/R2. Product code. Got the artwork again. Keep packaging for later questions. The Revell Inquisition's on its way. Copyright 2019. Okay, so that's a fairly recent kit. Website if you want to look at the website. Barcode if you want to scan it. Plus recycling codes. Aha. So we can try this later. This isn't working, is it? So yeah, Revell done this. So if you want to display the box this way round, or up on the shelf, you can still read what it says, which is pretty much all the information on the front again. Which we're now on to this side. So I think this is similar. So skill level 5 again, front box art, all the information. So if you want to display the box that way round, you can. And yes, they did this. So you can display it that way, flat on the shelf as well, and still read what it all says. Right. On the back, we have actual artwork. Well, not actual artwork, actual pictures of the model. As you can see, open engine bay, so it's got a full engine in this thing. Other features such as has the rudders, the all stains. This is a really lovely paint job they've done on this thing. Along the bottom here, it's at least some of the colours you're going to need for this. If they're advertising, they do all that. Replica model of the 190. The Sturmbuck, which is battering ram. So, also got features. Flame cannons in the wings, as well as additional armor plating. Fuselage and cockpit with additional. So this is features. Fuselage and cockpit with additional armor plating. Super detailed rudder. Most rudders will look fairly detailed in comparison. Rotatable. It has spinny propeller as a feature. Woo! If you care about spinny propeller. A choice of normal or domed cockpit canopy. So there are different canopies in this thing. Detailed cockpit. For 32nd scale, I would really hope so. Detailed undercarriage. Large display stand. Yes, this even comes with a large display stand. With many flight positions. And decals set for Luftwaffe versions. Pretty certain it was only the Luftwaffe that flew these. Yeah, somebody will correct me in a minute. Complex model kit for experienced model builders. In-depth know-how and skill required. Not suitable for those under 13. Normally it says under 8. I'm just checking the 152, and it actually says under 10 on this one. So, and non-assembled kit where you need to provide literally everything else. Right, so that's the outside of the box. What's inside the box? Thank you, title card. Let's have a look at the inside of the box. So, this side was open. We have the hidden stand. Ooh, came out all at once. Boxing up there. So we have the canopy, instructions, which are all nicely coloured, decals, which are really, really nice, nicely detailed. I will say that, but the dials, again, that the Smash Comet in 70-second scale has bored me. But at least the dials aren't too bad. The rest of the decals, yeah, they're quite nice. Put the protective film over the top. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sprues, or 6 bags, plus 7 if you include the clear plastic. We have 7 bags, all with the sprues in. These 2 sprues are literally the same. No, I probably did that all out of focus. Anyway, let's have a look at what the title card says. Thank you, title card. Yep, we're on to the instructions. So, page 1, we got a nice picture of the actual plane on the flying stand again. Let's open them up. Please note the enclosed safety advice. Okay. Read instructions. Find your piece. Cut them out with the appropriate tool. Why scissors? Also, you can cut something out with. Okay, so this is all the tools you need. So I thought it was the stuff you need to cut them out with, but how are you supposed to cut anything out with glue? So all the stuff you need: tape, lucky bands, clip pegs, scissors, paintbrush, tweezers, knife, snips, and glue. Plus, start to finish, wash everything in warm soapy water. So in soapy H2O. Cut the pieces off. Test fit, glue, paint. Make sure you stir the paint. Paint the pieces up. Paint all the pieces. Cut away the paint, so you can glue it onto the next piece. Recommends for smaller pieces, make sure you actually paint them on the sprue before cutting them out. And then when you cut them out, then paint it back over. Decals, 10 seconds in warm water before applying. So we've got glue, don't glue, paint, optional, leave to dry, order of assembly. Repeat the same for the other side, make a hole, number of working steps, so if you've got to do multiple. Read the assembly instructions carefully, so there's some complicated parts apparently. Soak and apply decals. Oh god, there's even more. Hang on. There we go, so what else we got? So, illustration of assembled parts, detach with a knife, hold together with tape, clear plastic, tie together, and glue. Okay. Tweezers, and use black thread, which will be the aerial mast on the end. At the bottom here, decal solution and clear plastic glue. I tend to just use PVA. And then parts that are not included. Right, let's zoom back out again. So Revell do what quite a lot of people do, and they give you a letter, a corresponding letter to paint stuff. So if I jump to here we go, so this is inside the Sprues of the wing spars. Tells you to paint it in letter H. So what's H? Well, that is down the bottom here. It is light olive matte. Tells you the Humbro code, what it is, and zoom out again. Revell also really love telling you to mix paints. So we've got a couple on this page that need to be 1:4 and 1:3 splits. Just expand your range, or just say you haven't got the closest colour for this. Well, that's probably what they're doing. The closest colour for this one, I'm metallic with. Every time I go for the word I cannot say. Africite matte. Put those two together, and that's the closest you get for a letter I. Even more paints that are required. Only 3 lots you got to mix. That's not too bad for a change. And we now have a sprue map with parts that are missing. So they're not to be used onto this kit. I'll come back onto this, but I think hiding under here is the machine guns that hide in the engine cowling. So those that aren't aware, the 190 here has a couple of machine guns there. Now, okay, you got the cannon there. Unless I'm mistaken, if you do know, then please put it in the comments. But the cannons here for the R2 variant, did they honestly take the machine guns out of there? If they did, great, thanks. Please let me know, because as far as I could see, it was only the added cannons. They didn't take away machine guns. On the other side, even more sprue map. Finally. Now you get the option of landing it up or down. Nice, it tells you at the beginning. Next option. Do you want the 190 to be displayed on a flight stand? If so, please cut out these holes. That's just telling you to cut this out with a knife. Stage 2, or stage 1 if you didn't want to drill the holes out. Tough, you're drilling holes out this thing. As well as I hope you got different drill size pits, because that's a lot of different holes. So we've drilled holes in the underside of the wing. Start doing it on the upper side. We're not going to see the wings again for ages, are we? Those that are curious, if you go back to my video of Revell's PBY5 Catalina, it was quite often work on this bit, work on something completely different, work on something completely different, work on something completely different, and then eventually go back to the first thing before working on something completely different again. Let's see if this is any better. Right, money rambling aside, let's have a look. So we have a cockpit assembly, so you got to put the feet rest onto the operating rod before gluing that in. Control column tells you nicely which colours you've got to paint it in before gluing that in. Paint the cockpit tub and put the decals in. Next, the lower half of the instrument panel, the cushion, it tells you decal seat belts. Put the decal on the seat belt onto the cushion, which then goes into the seat, which also needs decals of its own. Glue them in, and there's the decals for the lower half of the instrument panel. Speaking of the lower half, there's the upper half with really fancy gun sight. So yeah, glue all that together carefully. That's all clear plastic as well. Interesting. And then the upper instrument panel, paint front and back of it. Decal onto the front as well. Before gluing that into the front of the upper fuselage. Interesting. Next, we're back down to I have no idea what that bit's for. Okay. Now on to the wheels. If you're doing landing gear down, here's the wheels. And the landing gear struts. Is that landing gear struts? Hang on. So that's the... Okay, so this is the main wheels, because it tells you it's... For the left side you need that, for the left side you need that. Or left side. There must be a reason, because that is the tail wheel. Apologies. Tail wheel down, tail wheel up. Okay, so yeah, we jump from building the tail wheel to putting it, to gluing it together. Okay, that makes sense. While that is drying, we then jump back to the fuselage, well, the cockpit section. So we are gluing this bit into here. Now while that's drying, we jump to the tail half of the fuselage to put the landing gear in. Well, the tail wheel at least, either down or up, before gluing the two halves together. Leave to dry before gluing the cockpit tub in. So we still don't know where this bit is yet. I'll probably not wait, to be honest. Let the glue mostly settle, but then while that's still drying, glue that in, because I just got a sneaky feeling, unless you can like play with it to get it fit perfectly, it might be worth waiting till not waiting for that to fully dry before doing that bit. Next we have, aha! There's that piece. So that actually goes in front of the fuselage. So that's where the machine guns go on top of. Those elusive machine guns, which I don't think are needed on this, well, they're not needed on this kit for some reason. Now we're done with the fuselage, we got to jump to the wings. So the wing spur with the two cannons, or two machine guns. Next we glue that into the lower wing. And then glue this bit on top of here. So if you drill the holes out, if you didn't drill the holes out, now it's too late. That goes over the top. Then we've got to put the wheel bays in, or the landing gear bays in, before... Those must be engine mounts or something. Or guessing those are for mounting the engine. Must be because there's the arms and a ring to help put everything together onto. Definitely do not wait for those to dry. Do not wait for that to dry. Glue that on. Leave it to dry a little bit, but still you can like push on it and it'll still move. Then glue it on. Then glue the front ring on. Wing. Wing with a R. Next, so what we got here, so glue in the outer cannons, which tells you this is the zoomed in versions of where those slot in. And glue the fuselage to the wings. Wings with a W this time. Make sure it all fits in there perfectly. Next, the upper wings with ailerons, so glue the ailerons together and then stick them into the upper wings. And then glue the upper wings onto the lower wings. These are bulges to accommodate for the cannons. The Spitfire, the exact same thing though. There's more of a bulge rather than these, which are flattened pyramid is the best way to probably describe that. Unless somebody tells me the actual definition. Then you got the flaps. You can have them up or down. Tells you the pieces as well as the glue paint needed. Then jump onto stage 54 is probably to just view the assembled product there. Oh, we got that bit coming up, haven't we? Next, horizontal stabilizers. Glue the upper and lower parts together, and then everything together. 2 halves of the rudder plus the little light on the end. Is that what they meant by the most highly detailed rudder? Just that bit. Okay. And then glue all that onto the fuselage, and then you can put it to one side for a while because this next step is going to take a while. Engine time. I'm not going to name all the pieces, just like so. You've got to glue all these together. So what is that? The back? That must be the back. But yeah, glue all that lot together, and once that's all glued and painted, getting more of the rods and stuff onto the front now. Glue on the back piece. That's the same as? Or was that a different one? No, that's a different one to this one. Glue these two bits together. These are the exhaust stacks. I know where that one is. Assuming that's the exhaust ring. Makes sense. Anyway, so stage 36 is to glue 35 and 34 together, so it's these two at the bottom, not that one. Glue those two together, and then glue the first part that we made with the last part that we made to all this, with part 85 in the middle. Here's all the exhaust bits you got to stick on the end now. Plus an extra bit which says do not glue if you want spinny propeller. There's the spinny propeller part. Conveniently as well, so shows this bit, so this is where all this lot goes here. But also a basic of, that's the first ring that we made. Here's the second ring that we made. Kinda. You got the numbers the wrong way around there. Definitely got the numbers wrong because stage 35 is that bit. Definitely take your time with the engine here. Definitely take your time with it. Next, once the engine is all finally glued, painted together, you can bring the fuselage back in. The lower half of the front there just glues on. along with the engine and the front cowling. With that all glued in, it must be landing gear time now. Time for the landing gear. So glue the wheels together, then the shock absorber or suspension arm onto the actual strut, glue that onto the cover, and then glue that all together. More decals, but that's clearly while you wait for this step to dry. Because first you've got to put all these arms in. I say all these arms, that is just a enlarged version of these two pieces. And there's only one extra arm there and there for both landing gear struts. Speaking of the struts, you then put those in after doing decals. If you're doing landing gear up, that's all you need to do. Clear canopy, so paint the frames up and then glue them straight on. Up here, so we have the outer side of the front cowling, and then the top part. Now, optional, do you want all these flaps open or closed? These two bits in the middle, I think, are the closed, while the ones on the outside are the open. I say that I would think and believe because it tells you to paint the inside of these two and not these. But for completionist sake, if you are having the flaps closed, paint the inside of these as well. That's the last thing you want to see when you look at the engine and see clear plastic. And then you've got even more choice. Would you like the side flap open here, which we saw in the box art? Well, the box photos. Another optional piece. This is the one that's just like, do we need to have this one open? I suppose you could display it with crew members taking the machine guns out, like they're doing a field modification. They've lifted this up so it's on top of the canopy there, and they're removing these machine guns because of weight purposes, putting them back in. Next, how do you get onto this plane? Well, there's your footrest. Glue them in, and then on the underside here, all the little extra parts, which even on 30-second scale, same with the footrest there, I would say leave off until you finally finish painting this thing up. I can imagine even on 30-second scale, these will still get knocked off. Back onto the canopy, so choice of closed or open, and I think that's the domed version or that's the flatter version. Either way, you still need to assemble these arms in the back, and then glue it on if it's closed or open. Next, the fuel rag, you've got to glue him on, glue it all together there. Finally glue that onto the lower side of the fuselage. It's telling you to paint this lot first, before you paint the rest of the plane up, even though this is all going to be the same colour. Fuel tank, glue him on. Finally, if you wanted spinny propeller, or propeller in general, now's the chance you can glue it on. And then finally, this is the optional finally stage. Flight stand, glue them all together, and then stick them on. There's the knot and glue stage, so it's on about putting the aerial lead on. Now we've got to paint him. So let me zoom out. There we go. So many decals. So many So it tells you what paint codes you need at the bottom here. F, K, N, and M are all the RLM codes. So we need 82, 75, 70, and 76. And it really tells you you need to paint that F, F, K, A, etc. A little bit of confusion over the pilot for this one and the lettering on the side, so it basically tells you got the different options available to you, as well as different spinny on the propeller. So that's option 1, which was for JG300 Lopnitz, October 1944. Apologies if I butcher that pronunciation. Option 2, again, upper, lower, both sides. Very nice again. The second one is for JG3, which was covering Bath, Germany in May 1944. And that's it. So, what's probably now going to be the longest part of this video. And I thought the instructions might take the longest bit. I'll find out at the end. Well, or you can just go back to the index at the beginning, see when all the timestamps are. Yep, it's that time to look at Sprues. So apologies, the camera may be shaking more than before, but let's have a look. So to make things easier, I'm just going to unbag one at a time, get the sprue out, and then once we've looked at the sprue, I can then put it back away again. Yeah, this is a present, so I'd like to try and keep this one as best as possible. So let's have a look. So we do have some quite nice detail on the undercarriage doors there. The wheels, not too bad. Not sure what these bits were. So door, that's the landing gear struts, which look a bit basic, really. It's still a bit basic. The fuel tank, which is very nice. More of the wheels. How many wheels has this thing got? Or the struts there. Oh, was this the bit that go on the inside? So yeah, as I say, there's loads of bits here. And these do have the raised rivets as well there. I don't know if is the camera picking that up. Yeah, there's raised rivets you can just about make out there. And that's all recessed detail, which, let's have a look at the underside. Which, yeah, that's better. Not too bad. Not too bad on that one. Okay, let's have a look at the next sprue. 2-for-1 special bonus. As these two are identical, he's staying away, and let's have a look at this one. So we got tread on this one, flying sprue on the other one. Okay, shaky camera. Try not to unbalance it. So we have so we got tread on this one, which is recessed. Smooth tyre. Wonder if that's for the. No, it's got to be a reason. So clearly you two go together, and then these two must go together, and you must be the one for if you're doing landing gear up. So detail there is quite nice on the wheel hubs. Really nice. Yeah, all quite nice there. Okie dokie. So let's have a look at the flight stand first. Yep, that's a flying stand. Okay, top cowling here with the machine gun holes that are, as you can see, they are actually moulded in there, so you don't have to drill out the holes. Detail on the ring spar here is quite okay. It's a bit basic, but yeah, it's there and it's nice. So, okie dokie. Not much else on that one. Wings. Let's have a look at the wings, which is ooh. Can I get the? Yeah, there you go. Refocused. Apologies for the shakes. Very, very thin panel lines. That was clearly designed for an airbrush, which I suppose if you're taking on 32nd scale models, you probably would be having an airbrush. Okay, very thin there. The control surfaces. Very thin raised lines there. Which camera. There you go, you can see them there. Same on here, which means the underside is, yeah, there's nothing there. This wing is the same, though I can spot there is rivet holes there, or screw holes there. Just about make out with the light reflecting off it. Okay, the cowlings, not too bad. Bit basic, but not too bad. The rudder, it's actually been rudder onto camera. Again, more of these very thin lines. And those must be the horizontal stabilizers, these ones. So, yeah, not too bad. It's very thin lines on them again, but okie dokie. Right, let's bag this one up. And gonna get the bag with 3 sprues in it. I think that's 3. Wings and fuselage time. So, let's have a look at the wings. Which if I do it this way round. Yep, that's the set of wings. So I can imagine probably more the same here. So let's refocus the camera. Yep, so we got very thin, same again, very thin panel lines, which are, yep, they're recessed. Would hope so. Very thin rivet holes or drill holes again there, or screw holes even. Same again here, just made them out. There you go, some more holes there. Ejection port, I say ejection port, that's, I suppose, filled in case it had a variant without the cannons out here, which, yep, you gotta cut the groove out for. There's the for the light as well. Okay. But yeah, if you're having the outer machine guns on, which this one did, cut that hole out as well. That way you got somewhere for all the spent cartridges to eject from. Like that one. The detail on here is still very nice though. Very, very nice. Okay. Not much detail on the inside because you ain't gonna see it. So, right, fuselage. This is the port fuselage. So let's have a look. So stop shaking. Thank you. Pretty much all the same again here. Very smooth rudder. It's very smooth. I thought there was like a hatch or something there. Some of the engine cowling flaps, which are okay, very basic on the inside. Outside, a bit basic as well. At least they got the like the latches and stuff, so you can paint those weathered. So they'll be open and closed quite a bit. Ah, I'm guessing no machine guns with machine guns. Okie dokie. And hang on. Ah, it's in the bag. Mild panic attack over. But negative point, it didn't even survive transportation. Okay, let's have a look at the inside of the cockpit. Yeah. I suppose everything's in the tub, so the cockpit would technically be here, but even then, nothing there. And these vents on the front are... Ooh. Okay, probably just need to get a knife in there just to get rid of any flash, but yeah, you can just make out there is actually holes in there. So okay, that's very nice. That's very nice. It does say Revell 32nd, copyright 2015. So okay. I knew doing that was going to be a mistake. There we go. Okay, so this side, let's have a look at the flaps, which are very nice flaps. More sides of the engine cowling, which, yep, that's an engine cowling bit. Quite nice. Flaps are up, so yeah, okay. Top part of the cowling, right, that covers the machine guns, so yeah, very nice there. Other side of the fuselage, which I can imagine will have all the same. Yep, that's pretty much all the same again, and yeah, you just make it the holes there. Okie dokie. Interior, nothing again. They did emphasise this is still a Revell kit. Right. Technically, the last sprue. Those wings really did not want to go back in there then. Right, the last grey plastic sprue, so the one that's got all the detail on it. So start with the one with the least amount of detail, the propeller. There we go. So yeah, that's a propeller. The bit at the back of the engine with all the it's on it, so not too bad. Extra bit on it. I'm guessing this is that's where. Okay, I think this is to give more strength into the wings, and if you put it on the flying stand, because that's the holes that line up perfectly for that. Flip them back over, so that's the bit that has the machine guns on. Speaking of machine guns, there's a cushion. Machine guns look really, really nice. Couple of extra bits there. Cannons. I think these are more cannons as well that you can choose from. Don't know what that bit went to. I'm guessing more cannons because that piece there is the exact same as there. So instrument panel. So that's going to make putting the decal on top of really awkward. case you're wondering, I don't know if it came out, but there's like 4 lines just here. Actually, that's your ammo gauge for the machine guns. Yeah, it was just a white line that slowly depleted, but it gave you an idea of how many rounds you had left. Seat. Yep, that looks like a seat. Engine parts, and speaking of engine, the massive radial engine this thing had, which is, as I would expect, very nicely detailed. Very nicely detailed in there. If anybody's that plays 40k, or Gargant head, or mech head. Yep. That's just an outer ring. All the exhausts. Landing gear on the inside, which you won't see anything. So yeah, not too bad. The spinner's jumped off again, so yep, that looks like a spinner. Let's have a look at the detail here, which is quite shallow but very nice. Very nice detail. More like the cooling fins for the radiators. Not radiators, beg your pardon. Engine. Cylinders. That's what I was on about, cylinders. All in all, very nice. Very nice. Let's just have a look at the cockpit section, which a little basic, but I think that's where the decals will come in and save the day for that. But overall, not too bad. Would expect like a accelerator, a throttle lever there, and landing and various other levers, landing gear, flaps, etc. But no, not too bad. Right. Oh, there's the last of the there's the lower instrument panel, which yeah, that's quite nice. Right, I'm going to leave you unbagged for a minute. For the okay, I thought it was only singles. No, there's 3 clear plastic sprues. So we have, is that raised dome? So we've got the raised dome, the slightly flatter one with extra panel lines on it, and then the rest of the clear plastic. So, okay, there's your gun sight. There's a light. Okay, that's not too bad. Let's have a look at you. So, you can tell where you're meant to paint or not paint, because the bits that you can paint over are rough, well, bits that are smooth. That's a bit more clearer there. Then you've got the frame lines. I can see quite a bit of refraction already, so let's bring up the engine and whack the camera on the process. There we go. So let's have a look. Actually, the clear plastic is quite clear. It's just on the edges where naturally it's going to refract. Gets a bit warped, but overall quite nice, quite fairly clear. There's been clearer, but there's also been a lot muddier. But these are. Let's have a look at one. Not too bad. Not too bad. Right, let me bag this lot away. Bag, box, and then do my final thoughts. So, my final thoughts on Revell's 1/32 scale 190. It is a very lovely kit. It's got loads of detail for the engine. cockpit section could just do with a little bit extra. Like it just needs the throttle. It needs the levers that are all missing, the throttle flaps. That will just make that difference. That's a little bit extra. But the rest of this plane is, it is nice. It's really nice. So let's do skill level. Revell say this is a 5. Now my skill levels again go to 1 to 5, but 1 I would say is beginner. 2 is easy. I normally say like a FX Spitfire, for example, in 70-second scale. 3 is intermediate. I say like, again, keeping with FX, go for their bombers, Blenheim, Wellington. Wellington's more on the upper end of that, but and then you've got 4 being advanced and 5 being experienced. Or master builders. This I don't think it's a 5. We can instantly knock out 1 and 2. This is not beginner friendly, and this is not easy. Let's face it, this kit, whilst they have tried to make it as easy as possible to build, it's not going to be an easy thing to put together. Looking at the engine specifically, this is going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort. So I am thinking a 4. I am personally thinking 4 for this one. Not a 5. Because despite the size of this thing, it's what's probably the most unless you have built bigger, of course. But the size of this might be an intimidating factor. When you compare it to that, for example, doesn't it like it fills up about a quarter of the front box compared to a 70-second scale? Nice and easy put together. This, I feel, the engine would be the most hardest part, but the rest of the plane will be like no different to any other kit. So yeah, I'll go with skill level 4 for that. Not quite a 5, but 4. Interior detail. 1 to 5 again. We are looking at the engine and the cockpit section. The dials could also be a little bit better. But overall, the cockpit is really nice. And I would generally just say 4.5 for that. Then we come to the engine. Because what I would say is the outside is the outside of the plane. Literally everything you can see here. The engine is, well, it's a really, really nice engine. Extremely detailed. You got a chance to have everything open, so you can actually see it all, but it's a really nice feature. Because half the time, I know some kits like, we give you this nice, lovely engine, it's fully detailed. It's just like, but when you put the two sides of the fuselage together, it's all gone. At least here they give you the option to open everything up, so you can actually see the engine. And the engine, I would say, is a 5. But the cockpit's a 4.5. You're probably not going to be looking in the cockpit for this. If you have this on the shelf, you ain't going to look in the cockpit. And those little minor things that I've picked up on, that's it. They're minor. I'm going to say this is a interior detail 5. Exterior detail. Now this one's probably the hardest one for me, because normally I brush paint, so I prefer the panel lines to be that little bit deeper. So it's not one bit of paint and that's it, the panel line's gone. So this is definitely more airbrush, but the rest of the detail, it is there. And it is nice and it is crisp. I want to say 4.5 for this. But again, what can be improved on? So yep, I'm going to go with 5 again. So this is a 10 out of 10 kit, which is what you would partly expect for, saying, 30-second scale. 48, I would expect, like, 48, I would expect most of the details to start appearing on the outside. 70-second, it'd be nice if they were there. But for 30-second scale, I would definitely expect to see them. So, yeah, all in all, a really nice kit. Stunning centerpiece model on your shelf. Take your time with it, like most kits, but really take your time with this one. And it'll come out nicely in the end. So, if you like the video, please hit that like button, share with your friends, and subscribe for more videos. Have a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks, bye.